Hello and welcome to this interview with Dan Rivlin to celebrate the 60th-year-old birthday of our professional conference organizer and association management company, Kennis Group. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
How are you doing? It's super nice to meet you here in Madrid.
Yes, we're in Madrid. Lovely city, great environment.
Yes, and very appropriate setup. These are 100-year-old olives, I've been told, that were donated to the hotel where we're sitting right now. So, celebrating solidity, celebrating many years of being part of this world. And Kennis Group has been part of this world as a business, as a company for 60 years now. And just for the people who don't know what we do, Dan, can you give us a brief description of what Kennis Group is?
Of course. I think, we work in a niche, but practically, if I put it on the bigger title, is education. We're enablers.
Yes.
We help people engage. We help people exchange knowledge. We're the practicality of it. We organize international meetings. We help association run their meeting. We initiate new events where we feel there is a topic that people wish to discuss. We help with digital education. We are really, in a way, enablers of a platform, whether it's an in-person or a virtual event or other activity that help people to meet.
That's great. And so far, we have organized more than 4,200 meetings. We have more than 100 long-term clients, and we drive more than 200,000 attendees per year, 220,000 attendees per year to our meetings. So what is the secret of staying relevant in this industry after 60 years, Dan?
Well, the 60 years contribute a lot to our experience. But experience by itself in an ever-changing environment is not good enough. So I would add to that the innovation. We constantly need to innovate and change. Adaptability.
Yes.
We always say that the species that survive is the one which is most adaptable, and that should be us. And also the engagement.
Yes.
You cannot succeed. It's not a 9-to-5 job. You cannot succeed without an engagement and commitment to our clients and to our colleagues.
And you have mentioned a couple of things that are part of Kennis Group DNA, and a lot of people within our team talk about what the DNA of Kennis is. How would you describe this core, essential part of Kennis Group?
Well, the first one, I think, is the family feeling. We're a very big company. We're spread around the world, so it's very challenging to say, okay, it's a big family, although this is what we strive to be. Because that's get the people engaged together, even if they work in different parts of the world, and that's what makes us successful. So engagement is number one. Mm-hmm. And then innovation. For innovation, it's not something that's okay between 10 and 11. Innovation is something that you have to give the liberty and the freedom to people to dare and sometimes to fail.
Yes.
That's part of innovation. But we have to try new things all the time because this is what eventually going to stimulate our clients and our partners to do more and to do the best from their parts. Yes. So I would say that. And then we have this go-getter approach in the company. We get there and we will make things happen no matter what.
Yes.
We love those challenges, and we really have this attitude that people know that there is nothing they can't do, and they will go and make things happen.
Yes, and you're mentioning challenges, and I am entirely sure that in 6 decades of experience, there have been many challenges. And we were preparing this interview, and we were talking about risk management. And can you tell our audience a bit about the important role of risk management within this events and meetings sector and within this educational sector?
Yeah, I think now, I can mention a few examples. It would just make sense. I think we have a degree in risk management. It's enough to mention something which is very fresh, COVID. But just imagine COVID, we had to face clients who did not know, nobody knew what's going to happen with their meeting. They have liability for their members and their participants, but do they go and hold a meeting? There's a financial risk involved. Our job was to sit there and manage it. And to sit and manage there with all the stakeholders, understand what's at stake and how can we make things happen. But even pre-COVID, every event, and that's something we need to realize because COVID is kind of a once in a lifetime, hopefully once in a lifetime event. But every event, whether it's a natural disaster or whether it's a flu somewhere or a war, has a huge impact potentially on the meeting, even if they're not related and they're not exactly around the corner physical wise. So this type of management has to do with multiple variables. Could be even FDA decided not to approve a drug that everybody was expecting just before an event. It could be a problem with a strike somewhere. And our job is to make sure that, as we say, we're a go-getter. Our job is to make sure that this event will still happen successfully.
Great. And we are a purpose-driven company in the sense that one of our main objectives by enabling knowledge exchange is to improve patient outcome. And that is because most of our meetings are medical, are scientific. So that leads me to the next question, which is about the impact that what we do brings to the bigger picture of society. What would you say has been the greatest impact that we have had in humanity and in society in these 60 years of experience?
I think the fact that we are enablers, that could be a very general thing. Just, we organize and help people meet, but we're very active enablers. So we're also thinking constantly how we don't just get the standard templated event, but how can we get the people to meet? I usually say the people that you don't know that you want to know, because this is how research starts. This is where it starts, and then it goes up and continue after the event, in between the events. So I keep on telling my colleagues that you can look at your job as you're just doing one brick in a big building, but practically we are helping to build this building. So I think the impact is for us to sometimes insisting on trying new things and new forms to make this engagement much more successful.
Great. And it is impossible to talk about Kenneth Group and not talk about Gideon Rivlin, your father. So what would you say are things that we are doing now that Gideon could envision 60 years ago in 1965 when he founded Kenneth, and perhaps other that you think he could have never imagined that we were capable of doing?
Well, I don't think that anybody imagined 60 years ago where Kenneth is going to get and how the world and our world is going to evolve. But Gideon had the dream to start a company that will create those meetings. He actually created the industry when we started. He was one of the pioneers.
Yes.
And I think that his dream, and he's the first one who started to do meetings internationally and regional events. So he identified the need that not just in association world, but there is a need for other topics that could be developed. And sometimes there is a need for people to meet. And he started to organize also regional events. I think that his dream to make us kind of a very successful. Gideon is a go-getter. He's the first go-getter in this company. So for him, this dream to be the best, not to compromise on anything on quality, I think that's what he envisioned. I think that was the most important thing for him. Say, yes, we can.
Great. And to finish this interview, celebrating the 60th-year-old birthday of Kenneth Group, Dan, what are we building upon these 60 years for the future?
Okay, I want to emphasize that I wasn't here 60 years ago, just for the record. But then, okay, so there are a few components on company. It doesn't matter if that's 60 years or 40 years, because nobody, not just me, nobody was here 60 years ago, but there's a legacy and experience that carry it forward. Experience is number one, of course. Experience is very important. It helps us to feel comfortable with many situations, including a regular situation, that we know what we're doing. We've been there, we've done it. Just imagine that you go into a surgery and you've done it 50 times, so you're very comfortable, and even if something goes wrong, there's a good chance that you have seen those specific cases as well if you've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
But that helps us also to evaluate and say, okay, but here we're confident enough because we know we can to try something new. Because meetings cannot stay the same. They do not stay the same, although some of them are more conservative than others. But the more successful events create interaction, which is what I call off-Broadway, which is unofficial, not just the regular sessions. And this has to be created. It has to be managed. It doesn't happen by itself, definitely not in meetings. So experience and then innovation and the self-confidence. This is something that we bring with part of the company legacy. And as I say, we're go-getter. So we love challenges, and there are quite a lot of them today. Even if COVID is over, hopefully, financial crisis and so on, that we know how to handle them. So the self-confidence is added also due to our 60 years of experience, even for someone who is only 3 years in the company, because there is a legacy behind it.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan, for this time, and thank you very much for watching this interview until the end. We will be celebrating all year round and hopefully to many more decades of enabling knowledge exchange in the world, Dan.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Certainly hope so. Thank you.
Bye-bye.